Good afternoon. I'm editorial cartoonist Ted Rall coming to you from the left.
And I'm righty editorial cartoonist Scott Stantis coming to you from, well, the right.
And we are...
That makes sense.
Yes, indeed.
And we are DMZ America, the podcast, the only podcast you really need. It offers 100% of your podcast needs on a daily basis.
Don't confuse us with DMZ America, the sandwich shop. That's a completely different operation.
Or the interpretive dance troupe that we've heard such wonderful things about.
We have nothing to do with it, despite the fact that we are 62% owners. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Thanks for listening. The DMZ America podcast, for people who don't come on here all the time, is where Scott and I, albeit coming from opposite sides of the aisle, politically come together and try to find solutions to society's numerous pressing problems and its social issues, and try to see if we can find points of agreement in a civilized, rational way. And I think we're pretty good at it, actually. But of course, I would think that.
Of course. Well, yeah, no, it's interesting. I was just talking to a friend of mine who does listen to the podcast, and she was impressed by and totally agreed with the one we did on the Democratic Party and what the Democratic Party should do going forward by creating, and it should create a contract with America. Tell me and the rest of America exactly what you stand for and what I get if I vote Democratic, other than not Trump. We need more than not Trump.
We do need more than that. No question about it. So today's topic is, Scott, something that you picked. You were interested in this quote that Elon Musk says things sometimes. So let's talk about what he said when he went on Joe Rogan.
He was on the Joe Rogan show, and he said effectively that empathy is the enemy of progress, that we are too touchy-feely, that we're too nice, we're too feminine, we have feminized the culture. I mean, and the natural course that conversation takes, which is, do we have a man problem in this country? Do we have a man-boy problem? Which I kind of feel weird saying, because it sounds like we're discussing something else.
I do say the boy man, because man boy is like for older people who are old enough to remember.
So we're not talking about that. We're talking about how males, masculinity is perceived in the United States. And it's been under attack. It's been under attack for about a decade. And, there's always a happy medium. I always talk about happy mediums. I'm conservative, small c conservative in my views, as you know, Ted, to your consternation. But I like incrementalism. I like to take things, slowly. And, so on the masculinity question, which has really come to a head, and I think it really now is playing to a political and cultural degree that we'd never have seen before. When you had a whole generation, just effectively castigating and demonizing males, that, the whole phrase of toxic masculinity, which it struck me the other day, Ted, and you tell me if I'm wrong, as you are want to do from time to time.
Sometimes, yeah.
But the phrase toxic masculinity, I mean, it's dehumanizing. It is demeaning, and it's meant to be. It was never, it started with the Me Too movement, and that, which I supported and still do. I think that there are, men acting badly need to be called on their actions. And there are a lot of actions that men do that are pretty reprehensible. But the idea that the male in our culture today doesn't have, how can I put this, any standing. They don't have any examples of what 21st century, mid 21st century masculinity looks like even. So they fall back on the stereotypes. And so that's why you're seeing truck sales go through the roof. Don't believe me that men are under attack? Ted, one of your favorite statistics, look at college enrollment. Mm-hmm. Men are now 40% of college students.
College graduates, 40%.
That tells you that there's, they're being told that on campus they are not welcome. Kamala Harris campaign effectively said, "You're not welcome. Just sit down, shut up, stop being the ugly white male that you are, and vote for us." not a particularly effective campaign slogan. It's, and it's, and we're seeing this more and more. And yes, can there be whiners and out there that say, oh, men can't be men? I mean, there are examples. And I forget what are the twins' names that are being tried right now.
The Menendez brothers.
No, not those guys killing parents.
Well, they are getting a retrial.
Maybe they're still debating that, but no, there's a couple of the guys who are like, podcaster.
Those douchebags.
The douchebag, yeah, the total, complete, and utter douchebags who say that rape is okay, that women are objects.
Andrew Tate, right?
Is that it? And his brother? It's a pair of brothers. Anyway, but there's a lot of them out there that are now promoting. I mean, of course, you have the incel movement, which is, just, why don't women like me? Because you're gross. Because you're a smelly fat guy who lives in his parents' basement. I mean, it's hard to it's hard to respect that. But what does masculinity mean? Now, when Ted and I were growing up in the 60s, it meant something very, very different. It meant, men don't cry. Men don't, men take care of the family. Men go out and work. Women stay home and raise the children. Now, that was too strict and too tight of a structure. We found now that statistically proven that what is it? Somewhere in the neighborhood of 28 to 30% of people of both genders don't fall into or embrace traditional gender roles. And we should have a society where that's okay. But we also have to have a society to say that, Ted, you're the father of a male. I'm a father of two males. And I mean, I don't know that I think the world is somewhat confusing for them. And it's become even more so now. I mean, do you have any direct experience without, I know we're both loath to drag our families into these discussions for obvious reasons, but I think that, what is a male today? What's the male role in society today? And am I absolutely off my nut in saying that there is absolutely antagonism and anger towards males that I think is beyond the pale and really hurtful to our culture and society? And the reaction is, because we're Americans and we never do anything half-assed, we're now, we're buying up trucks like crazy. We fly Trump flags off the back of those trucks. I think the growth of beards, the number of beards, men with beards versus men without beards, has exceeded men with. More men have beards now than don't have beards, and that hasn't happened in like 150 years.
It's an itchy and scratchy nation.
It is